Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys. Momentum stocks is what we're going to talk about here with Mike Vodicka, our momentum stock analyst at Zacks.com. And this first company that you've brought with you here, I don't think we've ever talked about before. I don't know that you've even ever written about it before. You guys must have some new tools or something that you're using to come up with these stock picks. Perfect World Company Limited, PWRD, the ticker symbol. And it sounds like something you'd hear in a movie trailer. In a perfect world.
Yeah, it's a new stock, and it's been pretty hot lately. That's why it came across the comes into the momentum section here. But
then I read further, and then it all makes sense to me because you guys are always looking in the Asian corridor for ideas, and so this is
exactly
a company based in China, right?
Yeah, they are. They're out of China, and it's an online gaming company, and they haven't even been around that long. They've only been around since 2004, so they're about 5 years old. But they've been growing very, very quickly. Market cap's already up to $2.2 billion, so It's not exactly a small company.
Since 2004, that's a big improvement.
I know, yeah. The other company I'm going to talk about has been around since 1895, and they have a market cap of $900 million. So, I mean, it's an interesting contrast of two different companies.
So don't tune away, whatever you do. Mike is learning how to sell ahead, as we call it in this business. All right, go on.
But this definitely, you make a good point. It plays into the dynamic of what's happening in China with the big-time growth over there, but also it plays into the kind of growth that we've seen in the gaming sector. The video games are very popular, and particularly the online gaming is even more popular. So as I said, the company's growing very quickly, and they just reported their second quarter results on August 10th, only a couple days ago. It's very impressive. Revenue was up 56% year over year, and that's really impressive because most companies, the revenue is shrinking right now. They're growing their earnings through cost cutting, but this company has the torrid revenue growth.
Solid top line growth.
Exactly, so that's fairly impressive. And of course, they beat on earnings per share. They came in at 78 cents, 17 cents ahead of the Zacks consensus estimate. It was a fourth consecutive beat for them. So even though the last year has been challenging for lots of companies, they're posting really strong numbers. A little more detail from the earnings results. They said year over year they accumulated an additional 400,000 users, so their user base is now up to 1.9 million.
Impressive.
That's what's driving their growth right there. Okay. And then they offered bullish guidance too for the third quarter. They're projecting 45% revenue growth in the third quarter, so they think that the growth is going to continue moving forward.
That's another good sign.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. And then moving on to the valuation picture here too. Actually, what I want to back up just a bit, the next year estimate is projecting 15% earnings growth, which is solid. And then the valuation picture, they're only trading at 16 times right now. The market, the S&P, I think is trading about 17 or 18, so they are at a discount to the overall market, and it's a company that's growing. So those are hard stocks, hard companies to come by.
Yep.
And then the last piece of the puzzle, of course, which we pay close attention to in the momentum faction, is the chart.
Yep.
The picture tells 1,000 words. Is that what they say?
And this one does for sure. I can see just where it's headed.
Yeah, since March, it's up big time. It bottomed out at about $9, and then when the market took off, shares of Perfect World took off too. And recently, they topped off at about $41, $42. So big time growth. The
only concern when you see a growth pattern like that is it nearing the end of the run? And so you would know better, is it?
It's hard for us to project what it's going to continue to do. What we like to do when we see stocks that are accelerating like this, there's two things that one primary thing we look at is the estimate picture, earnings picture, and the valuations on this stock are still attractive, so that tells us that there's long-term growth potential.
Okay, I'll take it. Piper Jaffray Company is a name that's a little bit more recognizable by investors. PJC, the ticker symbol. They are in the investment banking business.
Yeah, financial services, and they do specialize in investment banking. That's one of their largest segments, but they do cover a whole gauntlet of different services. Like they have institutional sales, trading, money management, things of that nature. So it's a hardcore financial firm. As I said before, this company was founded in 1895. I look at a lot of stocks and I don't see many companies that have been around for that long. That's a pretty big deal. Yeah, market cap of $917 million, so not a huge company, but decent size. And then this is kind of a dynamic that plays off of what we've seen in the financial sector, and I've talked about this the last couple segments. We're seeing a lot of these financial companies gain traction right now. They're posting growth in key segments, revenue growth in their key segments. Their earnings look solid. So the financial sector, we're seeing a lot of stabilization there. And a lot of the share prices were so beaten down when the optimism came into the market, and we saw a real big time price or share price appreciation.
And it's a company, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but during this financial crisis that we've been talking about here, I have never seen any negative news associated with this particular company in this sector.
Yeah, they didn't seem to have a whole lot of exposure to a lot of the toxic assets that a lot of the companies got themselves into trouble with, like Bank of America and Citi, for example, were going out there and just scooping up huge baskets of collateralized assets, and those were the things that got the banks into trouble. Piper Jaffray, they're a little bit more targeted in their approach, so they didn't have a lot of exposure to these areas. So, and it showed up in their performance and also their share price too. Moving to the fundamentals a little bit.
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, their second quarter results, July 22nd, were very good. They also posted revenue growth year over year. That's kind of caught my attention too. Sales were up 12% to $216 million. And then they had a nice beat on the earnings side, 59 cents per share. It was 20 cents ahead of the Zacks consensus estimate. A couple of their key segments also showed nice growth. Investment banking was up 79%. That's a function of a lot of their competitors are gone.
Yep.
So they're scooping up the extra business. Institutional sales and trading up 17% year over year. That's nice too. Moving on to the estimate picture. We saw a huge jump in estimates for Piper Jaffray. About 90 days ago, analysts were looking for a loss of 17 cents in the current year. Now they're projecting a gain of $1. So that's a really big time swing. And now a key component I want to talk about here too, as it relates to the estimates, is this is a fairly pricey stock right now. So the share price may have gotten ahead of itself a little bit, trading at 46 times forward earnings. But the fundamentals are solid for this company.
Okay, quickly the chart.
And then the chart, last piece of the puzzle. Again, share price took off in March, bottomed out at $18, and then recently topped off at $50.
Do you own either of these two?
No, I don't.
All right, you can check out more stocks in this category and other Zacks Ranked By stock picks on Zacks.com. Upper right-hand corner, we update 4 new ideas for stock picks in these different categories each day for you. With Mike Vodicka, I'm Terry Ruffalo.